baseball historian that you are, and obviously you had a chance to develop a relationship with him. What's your thoughts on the passing of Stan?
Well, it's the end of an incredible era. Stan epitomized everything that's great about Cardinal baseball in every way. Just his performance on the field, his incredible integrity, his citizenship, what he's meant to the community, his commitment to St. Louis and the area, engaging personality, accessible. You go on and on, talk about the adjectives, and they're all true.
When you heard he had passed away?
Sad, but knew that it wouldn't be long just from being in touch with the family, and I knew he was in declining health. But, initial sadness, and then you think about an opportunity to celebrate what he has done for all of us, really, in St. Louis and baseball in general.
When you came to St. Louis, how quickly did you realize what he meant to the city and this franchise?
Well, I grew up here, so I, knew all about it, and my parents were friends of the Musials. My father had been in the baseball business his whole life, with the Cardinals starting, and in Stan's heyday was with the Browns. So they both played at Sportsman's Park, and as a kid, I would go to every game I could, whether it was the Browns or Cardinals, and Stan was the man, and the Cardinals dominated the baseball culture here, and Stan was, he was obviously the guy.
Bill, you got to know him as a pretty young. You were.
I did. I got to know him as a really a young child, really because my father took me around, and I said in an interview on the stage while you all were in here, I think that, much like the families, the father, mother, son, daughter, who come to this outing and meet the players, that's kind of what my parents did for me, and I got to meet people like, I got to meet Stan Musial firsthand. Not too many like Stan, but it gave me an opportunity to engage with household names in the baseball world.
What was that interaction like? I mean, you hear.
Well, he was great to kids.
Yeah.
So a kid couldn't come up to him that he wouldn't give him an autograph, even unsolicited. And he was just great that way. And I think that term accessible, it says it all. He'd walk in the middle of this crowd today, and a lot of stars would avoid it, and understandably so, because there's so much demand on their time. And but not Stan. He embraced it.
You mentioned
Plans
celebrating.
you have going forward, do you have a memorial service, or
Pardon
do
me?
you have a memorial service planned?
We're waiting to hear from the family on what their decision is. We told them that whatever they would like to do, we would certainly be there for them. And but in the end, it's up to them how they want to do that.
You expect something similar, maybe with Jack, though, down at the stadium?
Could be. Just not sure yet.
How will you guys? Will you do a pass?
Childhood memory, or specific childhood memory of the interaction between you and Stan?
Not really. I do remember going to Musial and Biggie's with my parents, and Stan being there, and just being friendly and warm and gracious the way we all knew him.
Was he your favorite player, or who was your hero?
Well, he was certainly my hero in the Cardinals. I had heroes on the Browns as well, but he was far and away the best player in town. No question about that.
What made Stan, you think, the way he was? I mean, so many players today, you don't see them do those things you were just talking about.
I don't know. He was just unique in that sense that, you see players today that are top players even that are somewhat stingy with autographs, trying to maintain value or however, for whatever reason. And, Stan could care less about the value of his autograph. I mean, whoever wanted it, he would give it because he wanted to make them happy. It wasn't that he was doing anything for himself. He was doing it for other people. Red said in the paper today that when they were on the road, he'd stop in at a children's hospital. That's, he didn't get any publicity for that. I was with him in when they called their minesweeper ship was being christened outside Washington, and it was called the USS Cardinal. They thought it would be kind of cool to get Stan up there, and and me for that matter, and the two of us went up there, and the first thing Stan said was, "Well, how many people?" They said, "Would you mind signing a few autographs?" He said, "No." He said, "How many naval personnel are on this ship?" And they said, "Oh, I can't remember the numbers, 50 or 60 or something." And they said, and he said, "Well, get me 50 or 60 balls then. I'll sign one for each of them." And he sat there and signed and signed and signed and signed until they all had a ball.
How many years
It
ago
was
was this?
incredible.
Just a few years ago, or?
It was probably 2000, maybe 98, something like 97, 98 time frame.
Bill, do you think the Cardinals are the Cardinals without Musial? I mean, this notion that you guys have as a public trust and as an identity of the team or of the city, do you think you're the Cardinals without Musial?
Well, we're not the same Cardinals without Stan, that's for sure. The Cardinals have a tremendous following in large part because of Stan and the other great players that have been through here. But I saw Ricky Horton say something last night, which I didn't think of, but it's true. When you think of other teams, you don't necessarily think of one player representing the team kind of above the others. Other than the Cardinals, you think of Stan Musial. There are other great players. I mean, Babe Ruth, et cetera, with the Yankees, but there are other Yankees. And there are other Cardinals, too. There are other great Cardinals, Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers. Stan just had that aspect about him, and his record, I mean, 7-time batting champion with all kinds of power, and 3-time MVP, and 24 All-Star games. And what's amazing about him is that he was so well liked in these, particularly in the New York area, where all he did was go up and beat them. I mean, can you imagine today how well liked players are that go in there and compete against some of those teams? But Stan, he had a big following in the East because he was so good and because he was so outgoing. I know he and Red, Horace Stoneham, I think, owned the Giants back then. Horace would have him out for dinner after they'd play. He and Red, I mean, it was pretty funny when you think about it.
Bill, you said he was unique. Have you ever met anybody like Stan?
No, I think someone who was that in the sports world, who was that good and exceptional, really such a wonderful player, who also had that personality and genuineness and accessibility and all of that. I mean, that package is pretty hard to come by.